Τι μου κάνετε? Επεθύμησα σας. Έχει μία νεύτωμα. 7 μέρες. 168 ώρες. 10.080 λεπτά. 604.800 δευτερόλεπτα. Μετρώτα. Όπως κάθε φορά, κάνουμε καφεδάκι. Πάμε κάτω στα comments και γράφουμε ήρθα και κάνουμε και ένα like για να μου δείξετε ότι αγαπάτε με, γιατί θέλω αγάπη για να ξεκινήσω το βίντεο. Και θέλω stories στο Instagram να μου δείξετε πώς βλέπετε τα CINE chill και συγκεκριμένα αυτό το βίντεο. Σήμερα θα πάμε να δούμε τα behind the scenes και το making of μιας ταινίας του αγαπημένου μου σκηνοθέτη και μιας ταινίας η οποία εσάρωσε τα Oscar του 2024. Αυτή η ταινία είναι το OPPENHEIMER. Να πω κάτι που είπα στα προηγούμενα επεισόδια. Από ό,τι καταλαβαίνετε, στα επεισόδια δεν βλέπουμε όλο το βίντεο. Βάλω τα highlights του βίντεο και τσάμε που λαλώ τη γνώμη μου. Οπότε αν θέλετε να βλέπετε το βίντεο που μόνοι σας, θα έχω πάντα το link του βίντεο που βλέπουμε κάτω στο description.
This is a national emergency. Our work here will ensure a peace mankind has never seen. The world will remember this day.
This is arguably the most important story of our time.
The stakes really couldn't be any higher.
It's profound, but it's told in a very human way.
Everything Chris Nolan has done
has been a OPPENHEIMER, γιατί υποτίθεται επήγαινε να βοηθήσει τη χώρα του, μετά γυρίσαν του το πάνω του.
I've been interested in Oppenheimer's story for a long time. At some point, I learned this key piece of information that in the lead up to the Trinity test, they were dealing with the very small possibility that when they pushed that button, they would set fire to the atmosphere of the Earth and destroy the entire planet. And yet, they pushed that button. I wanted to take the audience into that extraordinary moment in human history.
18K. Πίστευτο. Και ο Νόλαν είναι practical effect που τα κάνει. Έθελε ούλα στη κάμερα, έθελε εφές η CGI και ολάρες. Μόνο να χρειαστεί.
But I knew that he was going to need the most extraordinary ensemble around him.
Let's go recruit some scientists.
The people involved in the Manhattan Project were charismatic individuals. They're very talented.
The world that Oppenheimer inhabits is filled with rock star scientists. And I think because we have all these fantastic actors, you really buy that.
It felt like I was playing sports with some of the best athletes. Every single person has come to set knowing that they have been hired because somewhere along the line, Chris thought that you did a good job. And this goes for crew as well.
Action! My preference is to always do things in camera as much as possible. It sets a big challenge for every department to actually bring the reality of a thing there for the actors.
Είναι αλήθεια. Αν τα κάνεις όλα in camera χωρίς εφέ, είναι πιο αληθινό. Η φυσική του αληθινού κόσμου είναι πιο αληθινή παρά το computer.
Which is by far more than any digital camera. It gets thrown up on a gigantic screen, and the moment you watch it, it's very evident. The quality is unprecedented.
This is a story of America in the 20th century, so I think it can be painted on that big of canvas, and what better way to do that but with IMAX cameras.
Why would we go to the middle of nowhere
IMAX
for who knows how long?
Κάμερες, δηλαδή σαν πω και μπαίνουμε σε νέον κόσμο με τις κάμερες. Σαν πω και οι Lumière Brothers που έδειξαν τους το τρένο έρχεται πάνω του και πελάνα. Μπαίνουμε σε νέα εποχή ταινιών. ¿Cómo no καταλάβουμε?
We built our Los Alamos State Coast Ranch, New Mexico, which is along the same
Ούλα,
mountain
ναι,
range
τα
that
σετ
Los
ήταν
Alamos
ούλα on
proper
location,
sits on.
στον τόπο των αληθινών, δεν ήταν τίποτε σε
I based all
στούντιο.
of this on research. We built all of these buildings 360. We want it to feel like you are right there, you are in this,
ναι,
this is
άμα οι
happening,
ηθοποιοί
this is
νιώθουν
real.
ότι είμαι σε τον τόπο που χτίστηκε μια μπόμπα. Πάω να χτίσω μια μπόμπα. Νιώθουν το και φαίνεται και στους θεατές.
Shooting those scenes, playing the characters who really had versions of these events happen there, you just get a real charge out of it.
When you do Chris's movies, things that when you read a script you normally would think would be visual effects, you know that you're going to be doing this stuff practically.
They had to film the world of quantum physics. Their whole unit was one big science project. I was daily very jealous.
We did a lot of experimentation. We came up with some very interesting analog methods of how to approach this, all of which was leading to the test, which had to feel nightmarish and terrifying in a way that computer graphics never really is. What we were able to get into the finished film, to me, is extraordinarily beautiful, but also very frightening.
Chris, βγάλεις 3 ώρες και να έχεις το άγχος να τα βγάλεις ούλα in κάμερα. Βλέπεις το κρατά την κάμερα, είναι hands-on σκηνοθέτης. Το μυαλό του Νόλαν είναι mind-blowing. Ταινίες. Μπορεί να δεις και σε βιογραφική ταινία πόσο wow πλάσμα σκηνοθέτης είναι. Και πήγαινε τέτοιο.
With the sound design and the score and the emotionality of it, this is an unforgettable, unmissable experience in a theater.
Πώς έκαμε την μουσική ασθενεία το δούμε
We made Oppenheimer on the largest scale possible because the idea is to come and experience this. His story is monumental and epic and extraordinary. It really has to be seen on the big screen to be believed.
As soon as I read the script, I'm putting the pieces together in my mind. For Oppenheimer, we had a meeting and we started talking about different approaches and different types of musical ideas.
The film score grew very organically, very gradually from the smallest elements. And I had no preconceptions about the music for the film. Sometimes you have an idea for the soundscape of the world or the rhythm of it, and sometimes you don't. And in this case, all I had that I gave Ludwig was the idea of basing the score on the violin.
He delivered.
There's so much in the performance of the violin. Within seconds, you can go from something beautiful to something completely horrifying.
And there's a tension to the sound in a way that I think fits the
το ότι ήξερε ότι το φκολίνε έχει tension και θέλω το στην ταινία μου το πράγμα ότι το όργανο είναι εκείνο που θέλω. Με κοφτεί τι μουσική να κάνεις. Αυτό είναι πάνω σου.
What comes on later is the production and the synthesizers.
Ταλέντα και synth και έτσι πράγματα και που εγκόλλα με την εποχή αλλά έκαναν το και κόλλης.
I think Ludwig's work on the film is both deeply personal and historically expansive. I think it really achieves an enormous amount of the effect of drawing the audience into the emotional dilemmas of the characters. I think he's really put together a very remarkable score.
Well, it's, you know, the amazing thing about IMAX is the visual quality of the image is just second to none, and it's
Λαλή μου τον Νόλαν, κάθε Σαββατοκυριακό πίνουμε καφέ.
What made this the movie to populate even some of the smaller roles with Oscar winners, Oscar nominees, some of the greatest actors in Hollywood?
Και ο Καλαθός είχε Όσκαρ νομίνη.
That's true of every movie to a degree, but with this movie more than most. This is a film about people coming together to try and pull something off against impossible odds. So we needed Cillian Murphy at the heart of this as Oppenheimer, but we needed to surround him with the greatest actors that we could find.
What are you hoping audiences take away from their experience of watching Oppenheimer?
Well, I think that the thing that Chris does really well with his movies is he sort of makes films that really live with people after they've left the theatre, and so I think that, you know, this film gives people a lot to chew on, a lot to think about, and it's a little bit of a cautionary tale, shall we say.
Well, you try not to be didactic. The film doesn't have a specific message. It's just a great story. One of the greatest stories that I know of. And so we tried to do it justice. And I think part of the appeal of the story, what makes it dramatic, is that told right, and we've done our best. when the film finishes, there'll be a lot of interesting questions, a lot of resonances.
Movie number 6 for you with Christopher Nolan.
Λεβέντη μου, όμορφε
Tell
μου,
me, how
καράβι σου,
did you
κλείμ.
react when he came to you and said, I want you to
Ρε,
play
like
this role?
I mean, I had to sit down for a minute.
No
but I was
plasma
thrilled. You know,
αγαπώ.
any actor in the world would want to work with Chris. He's
Ο Νόλαν και
one
μετά
of the greats, one of the greatest directors we have in the world, and I feel privileged to have worked with him so much, you know.
If you could recommend why an audience see this on the biggest screen possible, what would you say?
Well, because I think it's less of a film and more of an experience. It's like Chris likes to describe it as 3D without the glasses, you know.
Ναι, και ευκάλαν 18K να πας δεις πας στο laptop.
What do you hope audiences take away from their experience of watching Oppenheimer?
That a summer blockbuster can also be a very evolved piece of storytelling.
Σωστός,
I've
είναι
done
μόνο
all
ένα
kinds of
action
movies, and
films.
I love all kinds of movies. This is, I've never been in a film that is this big and this small, because it's something we're all really thinking about. And again, you know, Chris Nolan takes it as an assumption that the audience is intelligent, and I appreciate that.
Τούτο ήταν το βίντεο, παιδιά μου. Πείτε μου κάτω στα comments πώς σας φάνηκε το βίντεο. Και επειδή τούτη ταινία είναι λίγο μες στην καρδιά μου, θέλω να μου πείτε αν την είδετε πώς σας φάνηκε. Χάρηκα πως σας είδα και αυτή την εβδομάδα και θα σας ξαναδώ σε 10.080 λεπτά. Love you.